This is the most depressing start to a podcast. You're just rubbing it in, dude. What up, everyone? Welcome to the third weekly edition of the Stafford and USA Fantasy Football Podcast, sponsored by DraftKings, Blue Racer Productions, and The Voice Blind Auditions live on NBC. We've got a legend killer in studio today, ladies and gentlemen. Joining us live is the man who legitimately made me bleed twice during the first MSU tailgate of the year. He is the founding father of the Rob Gronkowski fan club. He's the reigning champion of the Fantasy Football League. He's the best sexual experience Sammy Cray has ever had. He is our little lion buddy pal. And last but not least, he is the best friend we all have named Justin, besides Silverman, who's blacklisted from the podcast. Welcome to the show, Justin Benjamin Moore Cowbell Rolnitsky. Justin, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing well, thank you. And for those who are unsure of the voice you just heard, that man is the one you may know, the person who could have driven himself to the hospital on his 21st birthday after he blew below a .08. But more of you might know him as the infamous ex-boyfriend of Ann Rotenthaler.
Oh,
I unfortunately know him as his real name, given to him by his mother/partner, David Zeman.
What up, dude? Really fun. Great intro. If you couldn't tell by the music, Justin watched me whooped Guardies in my ass this week. It wasn't even fun. We'll talk more about that later.
It was fun.
I didn't have any fun. Justin, before we get into a recap, last time I asked you a question, I'm going to ask you a new question this time.
The last time that didn't air ever, so no one knows that there was a last time.
I know, yeah. So for those of you who didn't know, Justin and I tried to record this last week, and our audio sounded like we were on like a terrestrial planet. Like you could not hear anything. So we're trying again. This audio sounds a lot better. Justin, we're going to play shot out of a cannon, quick impromptu game. Marry one, kill one, fuck one. Are you ready? I'm going to tell you who.
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
Marry one, kill one, fuck one. Renee Simon's sister, and Carrie Underwood.
Okay. I'm definitely going to kill Renee because she is a detriment to society.
I would agree with that statement, and I hope she hears this.
I will fuck her sister for obvious reasons that are not obvious to me or probably anyone listening. And clearly, I will spend the rest of my life with the beautiful, talented Carrie Underwood.
I agree with all those decisions. Like our friends last week, couldn't agree with you more. Aaron Klein, Scott Gordon.
Exactly.
Every point you make is so perfect in every way.
Quick game for you, Zeman. I'm going to say a line, and you tell me who I am. You ready?
Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. I absolutely agree.
You're Aaron Klein or Scott Gordon last week.
Okay, that's good. Good job, man. Good job.
Let's take a moment to recap the actual sporting weekend that was courtesy of Muffler Man. Yes, here at Muffler Man, we are awesome. Justin, fairly uneventful collegiate arena this week. We took care of business in East Lansing. It was rainy. It was cold. The tennis courts were emptier than Jordan Staub's wallet after a trip to the Nike store in college. I want to spend a little bit of time before we jump into the Lions detailing a travesty that was almost as bad, if not worse, than Evan Goldfarb's lane violation. It involved our dear friend Evan. Justin, I'm going to let you set the scene for the listening audience.
Sure. So Jordan and Evan played last week, as I'm sure you guys are aware of. And Jordan, the one who we all make fun of in this league, he actually won. He beat Evan, the commissioner, putting Evan at 2-0. Evan, I believe, at 1-1. And in the morning, Tuesday morning, we were in a three-way G chat, and there was a discussion about their matchup. And we're going to do a little segment called Live Script, where Zeman will play. You're going to play Evan, and I'll play Jordan Staub.
Yep.
And, all right, we're just going to go for it here.
So this is going to be me reading Evan's text, which is something I've always wanted to do theatrically, is play Evan.
And then me responding as Jordan Staub.
Very good. Evan began. So I just looked at my score with you, Stav, for the first time. Jordan, You're talking shit, but you only scored 82 points. LOL. Not that much better.
Scoreboard, Evan.
Evan responds, you want to talk about scoreboard? How about look at the scoreboard over the past 5 years, smiley face emoji. You won the battle, but I've clearly won the war.
Dude, you sound like a U of M fan.
Dude, Evan Goldfarb just Michigan argumented himself in fantasy football. I don't think there is a greater travesty that has ever occurred in our friend group than Evan falling victim to the khakis, Sharpie, and whistle and becoming a Michigan man.
It really hurts. I mean, this is a friend of ours went to MSU, and he uses the argument. It's not what just happened. You could look over the last 5 years, like the exact argument that all U of M fans
and the
use.
worst part too is he's gotten on people for using that argument. Like he has been on record saying that that's the biggest like bullshit way to like argue your point ever.
And so from here on out in the podcast and hopefully afterwards, we will refer to Evan Goldfarb as Jim or Jim Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh Jr. or something of the sort. So,
I'm actually going to refer to him as an OTPHJ, over the pants, khaki pants, Harbaugh Jr. I think it works well, and that's what we're going to run with. So Evan, we love you, dude, but you fucked up really bad. All right, Rolls, let's talk Lions. I mean, it was a gross game. Offense couldn't really put much of anything together. That besides that late touchdown for Stafford, it really wasn't fun to watch. I was too busy watching my players suck dick and not score any fantasy points to really pay that much attention to the game. But regretfully, we obviously didn't win and we didn't look too hot.
Yeah, I watched the majority of it, and a touchdown at the end is kind of the MO for our team. We, don't play well, and then the other team's in a prevent, and we come down and score an easy touchdown. So the stats look a little better. That's how it's been all these years, but the Lions look atrocious.
Yeah,
I really don't know what to say. Although I do think they're going to come out next week and play the Broncos extremely well. Everyone's down on us. They hate us. They think we're awful. I don't want to be too surprised if we come out with a win next week, just because that's a Lions thing to do.
I don't disagree. I think we got a good chance to beat Denver, especially because they can't run the fucking football.
I don't think we have a good chance. I just think it's going to be like, how the hell did we win?
Like, how did we beat the Denver Broncos?
Yeah. Who the hell knows?
All right. Well, with that, it's time for our next segment, the Fantasy Football Week in Review, courtesy of quinoa. Yes, that's right. Salmon, onion, and sweet potato quinoa now available at your local grocery store. All items sold separately. Justin, what a wild week of fantasy football activities. Tell me your 3 biggest takeaways from the fantasy football week season.
Okay, I've got 2. I'll try to throw in a third if we need be. Number 1 is going to be that the I don't know what to call him, but Jordan Staub is now 2-0, tied in first place in the league. If anyone would have thought that would be the case this year, I mean, we would have laughed in the face. But Jordan Staub 2-0, beat the commissioner, Jim Harbaugh, this week. And
OTP.
It's really a sight to see. And you know what? I'm going to do something here. I'm going to do a little something a la Danny brought into a segment within a segment. This segment within a segment will be called Bold Prediction. And what happens here is I'll make a bold prediction, and then we'll go on with the original segment.
Okay.
So a bold prediction, or the segment within a segment called a bold prediction, is that Jordan Staub will go to the semifinals this year.
Dude, that's the most ridiculous thing
Take a quick look at his team. Tom Brady is just on a tear. He doesn't give a shit about anyone. He runs up the score every week. He's got 750 yards and 7 touchdowns in 2 games.
Yeah.
Crazy. His wide receivers are great. And AJ, running backs are a little iffy. Jimmy Graham, I think, will improve. I just think he's going to be doing well all year long, and I really think this is his year. So there it is.
I can't argue the stats. All I can argue is history, and inevitably something bad will happen to Stav.
Arguing history, okay, Jim.
No. I'm just saying, like, the last couple of years, he sucked. I can't imagine a way where Stav. I mean, look, it's everybody gets a turn, but my God, that would be. I'd never think I'd see a day where Jordan Stav makes semifinals of fantasy football.
Put it down on paper.
All right, I won't do that. What's number 2, my friend?
Number 2 is the disappointing top players this year. There's been a few that have just not looked good and are really hurting a lot of teams out there. Guys like Andrew Luck, C.J. Anderson, who you have, Jeremy Hill, who last week had like under a point, and Marshawn Lynch, who scored a touchdown yet. I think last week he had like 40 yards. But
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys who are drafted in the top 20, if not less than that, and they're just not. They're not giving good stats at all. They're really hurting the teams who took them early. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, Andrew Luck had 4 turnovers this week. C.J. Anderson has like under 100 yards. How about Marco?
Yeah.
He's got like 8 total like rushing yards on the season. I mean, I don't know what the deal is. It just kind of stands out to me that these are really high touted players who are just straight up not performing. And that really stands out to me.
So I'm right there with you. In fact, I obviously drafted C.J. Anderson, and there has been no bigger disappointment to me personally or professionally in the last decade. So, besides maybe dating Ann, but other than that, I mean, it's scary. I mean, it's scary what he's doing. I think we're going to give him. I don't want to give away strategy, but it's not really strategy. I think we're going to give him one more week, and then we got to bench him, dude. I mean, he's putting up like less than 5 fantasy points a game.
I mean, Hillman looks better than him, honestly.
Dude, God, Ronnie Hillman. You just can't, like Monte Ball last year, C.J. Anderson this year, maybe you just can't fucking trust the Denver running backs.
Maybe.
Did you come up with the number 3? You want me to jump in with something?
You can go for it. I don't really have nothing that's too crazy.
I don't have anything too crazy. I guess I'll talk about, it's interesting. So I follow Matt Perry on Twitter. I'm sure everybody does too. And one of the things he tweets out on Sundays is a hashtag fantasy heartbreak. And everyone's victim to it. Everyone has that like one start that they're toying with that inevitably, at some point during the season, will either win them or lose them the week. This week, was it happened to Gordo and me. Allen Robinson had, I think he had, I'm going to look right now. He had
27 or something.
He had 27 and a half points this week. We drafted him to be our wide receiver 2. He had 2.7 week 1. We're like, dude, this guy's a fucking joke. He had 1 reception on 6 targets for 27 yards. He's like, they're playing Miami. They're at Miami. Like, they're not going to do anything. And then he comes out with 12 targets, 6 catches, 155 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That is the absolute definition of hashtag fantasy heartbreak. The same could be said for Dante Moncrief, who we could have started and also probably would have won us the week. So,
I think it's a good play on your part, though. I mean, it really goes to show that all the analytics that Gordo does and whatever else you do does not work at all. And I think it's kind of exposing you for the frauds you are. So it's finally about time we see you guys at the bottom of our league 0-2, where you belong. So.
Well, those are fighting words, and I hope we get a chance to play you again this season. I haven't looked at the schedule, but if we do, I guarantee you we'll win. Roddy White sucks. I don't trust him as a person. I read something last week. I think he had a touchdown or 70 yards in 8 of his last games, and then came out and fucking laid a literal egg. So whatever.
It's maybe a little overreaction there, but sure.
No, I don't think it is. But
one bad week, and you're ready to throw him out to the wolves.
This is coming from the guy who would play Madden football. And if his receiver didn't, like, if you had, like, Golden Tate on the Lions and he didn't catch a pass, true or false, you would drop him after that week.
It was a one-time thing, and that's not real. That's a video game.
Right, because we're playing real football, not fantasy. That's a good point. Let's move on to our next segment. It's called Guess the Number, sponsored by Orlando Bloom, not the actor, but Daytona Beach, Florida's full-service floral shop. Visit orlandobloom.com to order a bouquet in time for Sukkot. Justin, today's number is 8, not just 8, the absolute value 8. Justin,
so it could be a negative.
Tell me, before I tell you, what do you think
Real quick,
value 8 is?
Is this like an over-under of something, or is this just like you're just saying a number and I have to guess what it means in the world?
You are 100% correct.
It's extremely vague. 8.
It relates to fantasy football. I'm not giving you like world politics.
Okay. 8 is the number of children that me and Evan will have combined.
I I mean, that probably isn't wrong, but it's not what I was thinking of for this particular guess the number segment.
Okay, I thought that was it.
The +8 is the 8 weeks that quarterback Tony Romo is expected to miss with his injury. The -8 is the lost points for Andrew Luck this week with 3 interceptions and a lost fumble. Just speaking to the quarterback position in general, there were 20 quarterbacks that had 18-plus fantasy football points this week. Drew Brees and Andrew Luck were not among them. Question for you, on a per-week average, so only counting the weeks that the players play, who ends the season with a higher fantasy football points per game? Drew Brees, Tony Romo, Andrew Luck.
Ooh, that's tough. I was going to say Tony Romo before you said Andrew Luck. I'm still going to go with Tony Romo, I think. The 2 games he's played in, if you count the last game, we only played a quarter, so I don't know if that counts, but game 1, he looked pretty dang good. I think when he comes back, he's going to have to do pretty well at the end of the year there, and I think Dallas will still be in it. I think their defense is that good. They've shut down Eli and the Eagles' offense, even though I'm not sure if the issue lies with the Eagles' offense or the Dallas defense. But Andrew Luck's offense just looks awful as well. I don't know what the deal is there. He's not accurate. He's not getting time to throw. The running back has fumbled the ball a couple times this game. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go Tony Romo on an average per game points here.
I think I can safely eliminate Drew Brees. I just think that offense is a disaster, much to the chagrin of Gardy and me, who drafted Ingram, who was relying on them being up and running the ball and getting him involved in the passing game. I'm going to go with Luck. I believe in the start your studs moniker. I think you've got to trust your big guys to perform. I think it's a little too early to panic. I mean, they looked disgusting on Monday night, but he'll get it together. He'll get it together. And look, don't sleep on Brandon Weeden earning the Cowboys starting job even after Tony Romo comes back. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon Weeden.
Yeah, I just put in a waiver for him.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the my favorite segment, at least one of my favorite segments, the Zordo Meaningless Roster Move. A new sponsor this week. That's right. Danny Rodden partnered with NASA to create spaceships to take boyfriends and girlfriends to see the galaxies. Make sure to like Danny's new business adventure on Facebook at facebook.com/outofthisworldspouse and like them on Twitter at squirrel. That's with 15L. Since I'm one of the co-managers, Justin, I'll give you the honor of selecting this week's roster move to make fun of Guardian before. I will do my best to defend it. That means I will try. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay, take it easy. So I went through last year's transactions for you, and it took me about 10 seconds to find a good one. This one occurred last year on November 5th when you dropped Travaris Cadet and picked up Scott Chandler. That week, Scott Chandler hauled in a whopping 3 receptions for 17 yards. I don't think that's what you hope to get out of him. The real question here is, why was Travaris Cadet even on your team in the first place? I don't know if it was through a draft, a pickup, a trade. That man, and I looked this up too, before the date that you had him, that you dropped him, I'm sorry, he had played in eight whole games, and he had 6 total attempts for 18 yards in 8 football games. And he was on your team for at least a day. I don't know how long he's on your team for, but the fact that he was ever owned on a roster is an embarrassment to you and your family.
I mean,
explain yourself.
I don't know if I can. I mean, so last year our
Travaris Cadet.
Well, let me focus on Scott Chandler first, because there's at least some logic to that. So last year our tight end position was in peril all year. We drafted Vernon Davis, and we thought he was going to play like Vernon Davis, and instead he played like Scott Gordon playing the tight end position. You can imagine how that would be. Inevitably, we were scrambling. We ended the year with Kobe Fleener, who sort of worked, but perhaps we needed some tight end help. I don't know why Travaris Cadet was on our team. I can't. I don't. Does he? This is a serious question. Does he currently play for a team?
He's actually on New England still. I think he was hurt and he just got back on the roster or something. But he's behind like 3 New England running backs. and they don't have a good running back.
I don't know, man. That's a strategy that has worked. Obviously, we're past champions. We're active on the waiver wire and in the trades, but Travaris Cadet was not someone we're going to rely on week to week to score us a lot of points. So I'll put that one on my shoulders, chalk that one up to a mistake, and we'll move on.
One of the many.
Thanks, bud. All right, final segment before matchups. This is a new one. We're calling this the 6-minute drill, sponsored by Randy Moss and Petite Randy Moss. Here's how this works, Justin. Everyone is familiar with the traditional 2-minute drill in football. Rumors are afloat that now my Scott Gordon Warden can accomplish any task in 6 minutes. I'm going to throw out a scenario, and you tell me.
Make a good play at wide receiver, apparently.
That's partially my fault too, but
because he had a week to do that and he still fucked up.
So he could have had however many minutes in a week and still not done that one. But I'm going to throw out a scenario to you. You tell me if he can accomplish it in 6 minutes or less. And you tell me why. Are you ready?
Sure.
In 6 minutes or less, could Scott Gordon get a current member of the Buffalo Bills roster to follow him on Twitter?
I'm going to say no, because I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming the team because they're going to be at practices and whatnot, and they're probably not going to respond to a guy, like a 20-plus-year-old guy, asking them to follow them. I
think we have to give him a little bit more credit. I think he could get creative with it. I think he could maybe like Photoshop them
without a bribe. Well, that's fair. Without a bribe, though.
No. I'm gonna go yes. So we're gonna disagree on that one, but I think he can do it. All right, next one, Justin. In 6 minutes or less, could Scott Gordon record a video of himself singing "Los Lonely Boys, How Far Is Heaven" that would obtain more than 10,000 page views on YouTube its first week?
Yes, of course, because you two have done this in the past where you've logged onto multiple computers to get a lot of hits. So I wouldn't put it past him to be able to do something of that nature.
I think he could do it. I've heard him sing. It's not as bad as you think. He actually has a pretty decent voice.
And you have horrible ears, so I don't know. I don't know how that would work.
I'm not the best judge of talent, but Scott Gordon does have a good singing voice. I think he could do that as well. This is more of a fictitious one. In 6 minutes, could Scott convince Aladdin's genie that one of his 3 wishes would be for more wishes?
Yeah, absolutely.
How would that conversation go?
I don't know, but the genie is the genie's kind of an idiot in my book. He sings and dances really well, but I think he's a fool. I think Goro could manipulate.
He's going to be like, here's my logic, and then go into some like analysis of why it's actually more beneficial to have more wishes. I think he could do it too. All right, I'm 3 for 3 on Scott Gordon.
According to what?
To my own analysis of Scott Gordon. All right, 3 more. So we're doing 6 total in the 6 minute drill.
Great.
Could Scott Gordon work on his cardio and catch more frisbees in his mouth than Zeke the Wonder Dog does during an MSU football halftime?
So he would go on the field on halftime as well and try to catch them along with Zeke like a
That's great. Could he intercept them from Zeke's mouth?
There's no chance in hell. No chance whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think he can do that one. I mean, I think he could certainly work on his cardio, but I don't see. I mean, that dog is fucking talented.
Catching a frisbee in a mouth, it has to be one of the harder things to do. I think I've tried it once. I'm not sure, but it was very difficult.
We should. I'd like Gordo to do an analysis of like their percentage of success. Like how many, if they throw 10 a halftime, how many does Zeke catch?
0.
No,
For
Zeke.
sure.
How many does Zeke catch?
Oh, Zeke. Probably like at least half, I'd say.
It's fucking incredible, man. That dog is.
Dog.
How do you train a dog?
Well, like a mouth as a hand, essentially. Like they pick things up with their mouth. They push, like they use their mouths as their hands, basically. So they're used to doing things like that.
Well,
we as humans are not.
And if we learned anything from Evan's bachelor party, we love dogs, but Gardy really likes cats.
I think we're spending way too much time on if Scott can catch a frisbee in his mouth.
All right, let's go to the last one. We'll skip number 5. This is an homage to the classic Scott Gordon tune. Could Scott Gordon write the whole Bible on a grain of rice?
I think he has. In evidence of a song that was made in the early I think it was 2009.
I think 2008. I think you're correct, and I agree. Put it on the board. 6 for 6. Scott Gordon can do everything and more.
Even though he skipped one, so it's only 5.
Inevitably, he could do it. All right, let's move on to our last segment, matchups, sponsored by the autobiography of the Quaker Oats man. It's an interesting read. Pick it up at Barnes & Noble. Never. We're going to do things a little differently today. Justin, we're going to take a matchup. You're going to tell me why Team A would win, and then I'm going to tell you why Team B would win, and then at the end, we're each going to say what we think is going to happen. But this will give us a better opportunity to talk about all the teams. Let's start with Instagram versus Birds Keepa, my team. Justin, you tell me why I win.
First of all, team name this week, not impressed. It does have the words Ingram or the name Ingram in there, but your team is just a name of an app. It's not much improved from last week, where it was a last name of a player on your roster. Though I this week again.
We are. It is. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I've seen that here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you the logo, and you're not going to tell everybody what it is, but you're going to tell me if you think it's better than what we currently have. You ready?
Show me a dig, please.
I had to take that out. Yeah. Can you see it?
Looks like a couple of superheroes. Looks like a black superhero.
It is Batman and Robinson with Allen Robinson.
You weren't gonna tell.
I don't fucking care. You couldn't see it. You're too far away from it.
You're naming me after a player that you chose not to start last week. Interesting.
Well, we have to make it up to him, so he performs.
All right. So I'm saying why you are going to win, right? I like Russell Wilson and Chicago D a lot. Chicago has been very unimpressive all year. I think Russell Wilson is looking real good. Last week he put up, I think, 23 points, including a pick at the end. So if that went for a pass, who knows how many points he would have had. Emmanuel Sanders has been excellent. I think Allen Robinson does well against a New England defense who just allowed like 30-something points last week. I'm not sure about Ingram or C.J. Anderson. This is really his last chance to show that he's the number one. And I actually like Dante Moncrief. He's been incredible this year. I don't know where he came from. He's a wide receiver 3. I kind of wish he was not good, so Andre Johnson would be looking better. But yeah, for those points there, I think you have a good shot.
Well, I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. Fitzgerald had a terrific week last week for Shug. Luck, I think, is due to bounce back against the spotty Tennessee defense. Edelman has 12 and 19 targets, respectively, through 2 games. I think he gets in the end zone. For the sake of this argument, I guess I could say I think Sugarman sneaks out a close win, but we'll end each matchup by saying what we think actually happens. I do think I think this is the week we put it all together. I think this is the week we actually win.
I disagree 100%. I think Sugarman's team, the 3 people that you talked about, Andrew Luck, Edelman, and Fitz, are going to have incredible weeks. They're all playing really bad defenses. I think they're going to destroy you. He's currently playing a player that's hurt, so I'm sure he'll be getting someone for him.
He will.
He doesn't start, so if he gets a start, I think like you're going to get smoked. So I think you're looking at an 0-3 start.
Break my heart, man. All right, well, let's move on to matchup number 2. Thriller versus Kiss Me. I will go first. Wow. Evan Goldfarb's theme song.
I believe we just called Jim Harbaugh Evan Goldfarb. I'm not sure if I heard you.
I apologize. OTPHJ over the khaki pants. Harbaugh Jr.
I'm trying to look like loading up right now. Sorry. So he has Drew Brees, who's not sure if he's going to play it. If he does play, I don't see him well against Carolina. I'm not sure if he's picked anyone else up yet. Let me take a peek at his bench players to see if he has. He has not. So he's starting Drew Brees against Carolina, or as of now, he's not the starting one, which probably won't bode well for him.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
I think Jeremy Hill improved this week from last week. I don't know how he can't improve. He had like under a point, I believe, as I said before. DeMarco Murray, I don't think he's going to have a bounce back week against the New York Jets, who looked incredible against Indianapolis this past week. His receivers didn't impress me at all. I can't say much positive here about Evan. Looking up and down his lineup, maybe Latavius Murray has a nice week against Cleveland, and actually I think Carolina defense. I think they actually have a nice week against New Orleans. So who knows? Maybe he'll get a touchdown here or there out of a few guys who are not expected to.
I don't think you're right at all, and I don't think you agree with yourself either. I think Lowy, the answers are pretty obvious. Just the first 4 players on his roster: Roethlisberger, Julio, Calvin Forte. A team with those 4 monsters are going to score a ton of points. I don't like Blunt, but maybe this week New England trusts Blunt. He gets some carries, and maybe he gets a little goal line sneak in the end zone too against the Jacksonville defense. That is not good. Lowy wins, and then in the real analysis, I think Lowy wins too.
Yeah, I'm going to pull an Aaron Klein and agree with you.
Absolutely agree with you.
I think Daniel Lowy has much more talent on his team and some better matchups as well. Julio is unstoppable. Calvin Johnson will look good. LeGarrette Blount's the one question mark, but I think besides that, he'll be all right.
Let's move on. Matchup number 3, What Me Whip versus Up in Smoke. Justin, you're going to pick against yourself. Tell me why Up in Smoke wins.
I'll do my best. Well, he has Mike Evans with a week under him already, so I think he's going to be targeted a lot more. I'm afraid of him. He had an amazing year last year. He has Alshon against the Seattle defense that hasn't done that well this year, so he might have a nice game. And, of course, the return of our own Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
I think he's the number 1 player in the league. I'm pretty afraid of him. So.
Well, for you, on your side of the ball, talk about not being able to do worse. Sam Bradford literally could not do worse than he did last week. He did not look good. I think the Miami defense.
Well, I'm not starting him.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So I think the Miami defense looked beatable. I think it's a great decision to start Tyrod Taylor. He's mobile. You're welcome. He can run the ball. He can avoid sacks, keep plays alive with his legs. But for you, I mean, look, it's about Gronk. It's about OBJ. I don't love your running backs. I think you're going to get a little bit of a bump this week with Devontae Freeman getting the start. He's going to be the lead back in Atlanta for a couple weeks because of injuries. So he'll score one. I think, Justin, you win, and in a real matchup, I think you win too.
I'm going to agree as well. I think it'll be a lot closer than we might think. I really don't like that I'm starting a quarterback against the Cowboys who have shut down Eli and Bradford in back-to-back weeks. Yep. I think their defenses looked really, really good.
Solid analyses. That's multiple analyses. Matchup number 4, Kickers Lives Matter versus Peyton's Jorts. Justin, tell me why the Jorts win.
Well, number 1, he's projected to win by 15, so that's a good sign there. He has Peyton Manning against the pathetic Detroit Lions. He has Hopkins, who had a rough week last week playing at Tampa Bay this week. I think he'll have a nice week. He has Terrence Williams, who I think did pretty solid last week, but he's still the number 1 guy over there against Atlanta. I think Marshawn Lynch goes off this week. Like I said before, he had a bad week 1 and week 2. I think against Chicago, he at least scores a touchdown. I think he'll do really well. And yeah, those are some good matchups there. I think Tyler Eifert is on a roll. So he's getting targeted a ton. So
nothing like a good Tyler Eifert name drop. Look, I'm going to be honest. I'm never in my entire life going to pick a Seth Beifel team to win. It goes against everything I believe in as a person and as a Jew. Beifel's team is the literal epitome of trash. If you put trash out on your curb on Thursday, Beifel's team should go with it. When you rely on Kendall Wright and Bishop Sankey, 2 skill players from an unskilled offense in Tennessee, you have problems. This gets ugly for Seth. He ends up wallowing in his own self-pity and goes to Taco Bell and tries to order a Bite Wrap Supreme. The person at drive-thru laughs at him because that's not an actual menu item, you idiot. Sorry, I know this is my own segment, but he doesn't win.
I'm surprised, but I agree with you again. Seth isn't dead last in the league. And if you look at his whole lineup head to toe, it's not looking good. I mean, Jordan Matthews has put up some pretty good stats, but he drops a lot of balls. Keenan Allen had a terrible week. Morissette hasn't been that great. Olsen had a bad week 1, an okay week last week. There's just nothing on his team that really jumps out at you. So I can't be too high on his team at all.
This is funny.
let's go to
I was
Alex.
I was looking to try to make a trade this week because our team sucks balls too, and I always look to Beifel's team first because he usually is willing to make a dumb trade. I didn't even want anyone on Beifel's team.
Yeah,
That's
there's
how
not
bad.
a lot. It's pretty rough. Yeah.
All right, we're in agreement there. Our 5th of 6 matchups: Brady's MPSIRE versus he changed his team name. Slob on my Cobb. Kept Cobb reference. That was well done. Justin, tell me why the Slob Cobb wins.
Number one, because of a very nice change of the team name. A good job, Jason,
Great job, Dozier.
to change it from a name that's been way overused. Slob on my com just makes you laugh every time we say it. But Carson Palmer has been amazing this year, and he's playing against a Stanford D who looked like shit last week against Pittsburgh. Antonio Brown is unstoppable. Cobb has been really, really good. Running backs are kind of iffy. Franny Gore had a bad week, but maybe he'll have a bounce back against Tennessee. Actually, I like David Woodhead. I think he's scored in each game so far, so I like Jason a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're an idiot. Brady's MPSIRE are going to win this week. It's not even really much of a question. Brady is on a killing streak. I think if he could get away with murder, he actually would kill a human being right now. It doesn't stop against Jacksonville. He puts up 56 points on them in the first half. Hyde didn't look Hyde didn't look great last week. Jay Green did.
He got hurt last week, so
I'm aware.
He didn't look good at all because he wasn't on the field.
While he was on the field, he didn't look good. I mean, after a solid week 1, he got 13 attempts last week. It wasn't like he got 2 attempts. He rushed 13 times for 43 yards. Yes, I realized didn't he leave with like a concussion? He had like a
thigh contusion. So
nothing worse.
Not close to your head whatsoever.
Nothing worse than a thigh contusion. I don't think. I think he gets back on track. AJ Green does. Demaryius Thomas does. There's plenty of points to go around. Somehow, Stav is 3-0, and this bodes well for your prediction of him being in the semifinals of the league somehow.
I still pick Stav to go to the semis, but this week I'm going to go with Slob on my Cobb. Jason is too good of an owner to go 0-3. Like I said, Carson Palmer, Antonio Brown, Cobb, even Ebron look good. I think those guys are pretty much unstoppable right now, and they're finally going to get him a win this week.
Moving on to our last matchup. This is between Too Many Cooks and One Night in TY. And Justin, this is our Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop matchup of the week. Excuse me. I'm going through puberty. Justin, this is a matchup of two 2-0 teams. Tell me why Too Many Cooks wins.
Too Many Cooks. Well, looking at the QB position, Phillip Rivers, I think he has a nice week against Minnesota D. Cooks has not been good this year, and against a tough Carolina D. I'm not sure if he's going to have a bounce back, but Brandon Marshall has looked incredible. Jamal Charles has looked good. He dropped the ball a couple of times last week, so I think he's going to be pissed off this week and have an amazing game against the Packers on Monday Night Football. I think LaShawn McCoy as well. Miami's D actually hasn't been as good as we thought it would. So for those reasons, I think Danny has a good shot here.
Yeah, I think. I think this is going to be a close one. For sake of the segment, I'll argue for TY. I think it goes back to the consistency of Aaron Rodgers. Every week you can count. I mean, literally, you can count on him to get you 20 points, and that's great to just be able to punt the quarterback position and not even think about it. Peterson looked solid as hell last week after week 1. I don't know about Steve Smith and certainly TY going forward in terms of that offense, but Ivory has stud potential. Kelsey, as we saw in week 1, has stud potential. And I think Arizona, I don't usually talk about defenses, but I think Arizona is going to feast on San Francisco at home. I think it's a close game. I think it lives up to its potential as the Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop matchup of the week. But I would not be surprised if Too Many Cooks ultimately takes the win.
Wow, I disagree again. I think Aaron Klein wins. I do like some of the players over on Too Many Cooks, but I think Aaron Klein pulls this one out. Adrian Peterson, I think, is going to have a nice week. Hilton gets targeted a ton there, and as you said, Aaron Rodgers is pretty much unstoppable. So I'm gonna go Aaron Klein here to go 3-0 and be in first place in the league after a loss by Danny Rodden and Jordan Stave, and I forget who else was first. Daniel Lowy. So we have to be tied with Lowy 3-0 was my prediction.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for the Stafford and USA Fantasy Football Podcast Week 3. Justin is loading up the music to the University of Michigan fight song to send out our dear friend and colleague, OTPHJ. I hope everyone has a good and successful week, and happy Yom Kippur to everyone. Safe, Happy New Year. And Justin, take us out on a high note. Oh, that's so hard to listen to.
Jim Harbaugh Jr. Evan is a Michigan fan.
Take it easy, everybody. We out. Bye.